Hi everyone. Hello everyone. Good evening to all of you. Just gonna wait for a minute more. All right. So a bunch of you are asking me how am I? I'm good, doing well. Good to see all of you here. So today we have a really interesting topic, and I'm sure that each one of you would resonate with that topic. And just gonna wait for a few seconds more for a bunch more to join in. All right. Okay, great. So today what we're going to be talking about is expectations. So let's dive right into that. To expect the unexpected. So as the drill you all do know, I'm going to be disabling comments, and thereafter we will take on questions in the question box below, which is the question mark, as well as in comments later on as well. Okay. All right, so today's topic is expect the unexpected. Now, what I mean by expect the unexpected is that a lot of us always have expectations from people. A lot of us always seem to say that, but I thought that they would do that for me, or shouldn't they have done it? Isn't their duty to do so? Isn't their right to do so? And so on and so forth. So let's get started on understanding a little bit more about expectations today. So why do we expect in the very first place? So we often tend to believe that the way we treat others will be the way we are treated in return. Now that might be the law of karma, but that does not always happen with the same equation. Which means that if I'm doing good to you, does not mean that you are going to necessarily do good to me. You might land up doing bad to me, and because of my good karma with you, I might land up getting something better from somebody else. So karma doesn't settle your accounts with each other necessarily always, but it definitely settles your accounts otherwise. But coming back to expectations in all practicality, we often tend to believe that one should be in certain ways. We feel that it is our birthright to expect people to be the way that we might hope that they be. So for example, because he's my mother or father, because they are my children, they should behave in such a manner, or they should say these kind of things, or they should, portray these kind of qualities. Now, we must know the fact that it's not our birthright. It never has been, it is never going to be. It's never going to be our birthright to dictate or to dominate or to even drive another individual. Because we by ourselves are, we by ourselves have certain kind of, an ecosystem that we follow. And that does not mean that just because they are our children or because they are our family, they are going to be of the same value system. Right? There can be one outfit that can be cut of that one cloth. You cannot always have many looks and feels from the same. So coming to the next point is that we feel that expecting is a way of life, and this is very normal, and it's something that happens to all of us, and it's a very natural process, right? So these are a bunch of things why we expect in the very first place. So here I am today going to tell you about 7 things about how not to expect. All right. So how can we get past and live our lives without expectations? All right. So let us begin with the very first one, which is becoming aware about our expectations. So a lot of us use the word should, right? He should be doing that. She should be saying this, right? So we have a lot of these thoughts that keep on coming to our minds. Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm in a live session, bye. That was a blooper. All right. Okay, so coming back to our expectations. So we must become aware about our expectations. So our expectations basically start with the word should. So he should be like that, she should be like that, they should do this to me, they should say this to me, or this must happen. So should then becomes must. Now what happens when we actually have or put this pressure on ourselves by using this kind of word and vocabulary with ourselves when we talk to ourselves? We not only strain our relationships with people, but we definitely strain our relationships with ourselves. Because what does all of this do to our mental health? Right? So what does expectations do to our mental health? It actually makes us very irritable. It makes us angry. It makes us want to expect more and more from people. It hurts us a lot when we expect from people. So which is why we need to start becoming a lot more aware about what are we really trying to expect from one another. Sometimes we are expecting things from our bosses. Sometimes we're expecting things from our children, from our parents, from our spouses, without really realizing that it's not always a scenario where they are going to align their value system, their ecosystem to our systems. We might be one family unit, we might be one office unit, but that does not mean that all of us belong to the same breed and the same mindset, right? So let's start to stop using the word should and must. Let's start by saying that it would be nice if this happened. It would be nice if they said this to me. It could have been better. However, this is what has really happened. So we, rather than saying that they should have informed me, it would have been nice had they informed me. I could have planned better. Or, instead of saying that we must do this, otherwise we are losers. We must get these marks, otherwise we are losers. No, it would be nice if we got these marks because they would get us closer to our goals. But if we don't get them, we will try better next time. A lot of people today, a lot of students today go through the pressure of, the whole peer pressure, whether it's with gadgets or whether it's with grades. A lot of us put this pressure on ourselves, and that is how we then we transcend that pressure onto our peers. So today, if I'm giving a specific examination and I'm so stressed and I'm stressing all my friends around me by saying, we have to do this, otherwise we're going to be nowhere in the world, we're going to be finished, there's going to be no future for us. When we start using all these words, phrases, vocabulary, we actually diminish our true potential of focusing on what can be done rather than what if it is not done, what I will be doing. Right? So we need to become a lot more aware about expectations. Let's move on to the next point, which is stop wanting to be right. Now, this is a human problem. This is something which we all do very intuitively, naturally, or have the desire to do so. Right? So stop wanting to be right, because our expectations makes us feel misery because we believe that we are always right, or we believe that we need to always be right. So for example, over here, you are disappointed because you expect your spouse to do the dishes, say for example, without asking you. So, I mean, he or she is supposed to see that, it's such a messy situation in the kitchen and they should do the dishes without you having to tell them. Why? Because you think that is the right thing to do for a caring spouse. So, if he or she loves me, if he or she cares about me, this is how the person needs to act and react or act and respond. But that's not true, because you have to stop wanting for the right things to happen. Like a lot of us go through this phase during our teenage or even our 20s, wherein while choosing a life partner, we often say or think or act or expect, if he does this, if she does this, they are the one. Now, it could be various things for various people. What you might say and denote that this is the one for you, or he or she is the one for you, by them doing a particular action, it could be completely something different for somebody else. So we need to stop labeling things that if this happens, I am on the right path. If this does not happen, I am on the wrong path. So life is not about right and wrong. Life is about understanding the gray zone sometimes. It is understanding what's right for you and what does not work for you. It does not mean that today what I am saying today, all of this is right. It is my perspective. To somebody here, this might all be completely wrong. But that doesn't make me wrong as an individual. That just makes our perceptions about things very different. And by being different, you are not being wrong. You are just being different. So stop wanting to be right all the time, because you will land up, actually pressuring yourself a lot more. And it would only make you feel a lot more insecure about many things in your life, rather than focusing on the things that you're naturally good at. So let's move on to the next point, which is the third one. Which here it says, don't expect people to be nice to you. Instead, be nice to yourself. Now, this is something that I've often mentioned, even in my self-talk conversations, self-love, how to love yourself. It's really, really important that you actually land up being nice to yourself. Because if you're not nice to yourself, who the hell is going to be nice to you? In order for you to attract love, you must first love yourself. In order to attract niceness, positivity, opportunities in life, all of that, you first need to do it for yourself. Because today, if you are not living an effective life, how are you expecting others to live effectively and to respond to you effectively? Right? So, not everyone shares the same experiences as you, and they don't share the same perceptions as you. So we right now spoke about being different. It is the same scenario. So there will be many a times others will not be nice to you. There have probably been moments wherein your closest person to you has been the meanest person to you. Sometimes your parents might just be in your eyes at that given point of time really mean or evil, because they're not letting you go out for a particular event. You haven't got permission and so on and so forth. But that does not mean that they're not nice. You need to start rationalizing, and you need to start telling yourself, what is the reason for them to behave in this format? Is there something that I'm doing? If it's not something that you're doing, then have a communication with them. Right? So don't expect that everyone's going to be nice to you, and they can even be your mother or father. So first, be nice to yourself. Moving on to the fourth point, which is don't compare yourself with others. Now this means that if someone else can do it, so can I. Now this is a very, very empowering, but at the same time, it creates an unnecessary self-expectation. So just because somebody can do this doesn't mean you can do it. Yes, it is very motivating to see that in a different light sometimes, by saying that, hey, if they can do it, I can surely do it. Try. for sure try, and by all means definitely do try. But if at all life is giving you different opportunities, take them forward. A lot of us, a lot of people ask me, clients ask me, Panisha, how is it that we should work towards our weaknesses? How should we make our weaknesses into strengths? And the only thing I tell them at the beginning of it is, why not maximize your strengths? Why not take your strengths to a whole different level, right? So focus on what really works for you rather than focusing on what you might want to work for you because it's working for somebody else, right? Now today there are so many people out there who think that mental health is a very easy thing to talk about. Mental health is something that it's easy to mention a quote here or a quote there, or you can just read about it, and we all go through issues and we all are friends to somebody who has issues or something like that, and we can give advice for that matter. Mental health is actually very difficult to kind of execute, is because you need to do everything with great amount of delicacy. You cannot just go out there. Today I cannot be super brash to you. I need to understand your reasons for the same, right? But at the same time, if you put me in a banker's job, okay, I might look at somebody and say, oh my God, this person is doing really, really well. So I also want to go ahead and do this job. And he's inspired by what I'm doing. And we actually want to cross. And I want to do banking now because I'm so interested in what he's doing. And he's so interested in what I'm doing. It's probably not going to work. Because I'm coming from a psychology background and he's coming from a financial background. We might have interests in these subjects, but we might not be interesting in the opposite subjects to other people, right? So don't compare yourself with others. You might want to do something. Well, focus on what you are currently doing, and can you do that any better? If it is a yes, then go for it. Why try to change the road when you can just change your shoes and walk better in them, right? Okay, so moving on from don't compare to focus on the process goal instead of the outcome goal. So the word goal is hidden behind this picture here, right? So there are two types of goals. One which focuses on the outcome, and the other one that focuses on the process. So just giving you an example here. So if you were a writer, the outcome goals would be to finish your book or your blog post by a particular certain date, right? At that date, you would want to see the book or your blog post complete. It's fine that you have an outcome goal. Now this is an outcome that by this time it needs to happen, right? Now, but people tend to hear what happens is that they attach their expectations to their outcomes, to their outcome goals, while process goals here, on the other hand, would be like writing daily for at least an hour, right? So what happens here is that they're more like habits which they develop over a period of time. Process goals here are less stressful because they aren't based on a particular time and place. They are based on your process and your abilities. It's based on your commitment also. So it's very, very important that you focus on process goals, which is why a lot of times you must have heard your parents tell you, your teachers in school tell you, do things in small chunks. Take something small and do it every single day. Because practice makes a man perfect is what we've always been told so, right? So it's really important to take something small and do it every single day. And when you practice it every single day, it will not only empower you in your lifestyle, but it will also empower your skill set as well as your mindset about a particular thing that you are about to do so. So I hope this kind of gives you a different ideology on goal settings. Moving on to the sixth point, be open to changes and possibilities. Never be fixated on the outcome, your plan, goals, and etc. Anytime you are fixated on something or someone, your expectations are bound to be there. Now, this might be a little hard for you to execute, and for all of us, in fact, to execute. But there was a shift in my life that happened around 3 years ago, where I started to detach from a lot of people in my life that I held very closely to me. That kind of when I was holding them close to me, I realized that my relationships had a stone on them, had a heaviness on them, which made me pick up hurt, resentment, pick up expectations, pick up anger, fear, and a lot of other different thought processes which sometimes could be considered as negative, all came about to me. 3 years ago, when I actually decided on picking up that rock and throwing it away and saying, how bad can my life be without all of these people? Will I be able to survive? Will I be able to live? If this does not happen for me, this career path does not happen for me, will I be able to live? Will I be able to do better? All the answers were yes. I will be able to do so. You know why? Because there are many times in our lives that the same people who we want so close to ourselves, the opportunities that we want to grab, they don't want to be with us at that point of time. They are actually being suffocated. You might be doing your best at work. You might be in love with that person. You might be giving your best. But if your timing isn't right, if your approach isn't right, and if your intent isn't right, nothing truly aligns. Your possibilities, your opportunities are different from what you are wanting. But what you actually have with you, you're holding them back. In the fear, in the anxiousness, in the, in the fear of, okay, if these people go away, if these jobs go away, these opportunities go away, my life will be nothing. No, you will start new. Our human mind, as well as the body, has the ability to heal by itself if it is given a due amount of time without any irritation in the middle. Such as a wound. When you get hurt and you band-aid it, but if you keep on opening the band-aid, you will only infect the wound a lot more. So stay put for a while and let the band-aid fall off on its own when the new skin comes through. And it will, because your body has that mechanism. It is both mystique and magical, right? So understand that being open to changes and possibilities is allowing yourself to truly live expectation free. And I share this with you because I know it seemed very difficult to do so, but I truly enjoyed the experience of putting myself through that. And today I feel nothing but liberated. Because I don't expect my spouse to be in a particular way. I don't expect my family to be in a particular way. Because today I understand that everybody, every single one of us has our own identity, our own opinions, our own judgments, and our own, way of living. We have our own ecosystem. So we must learn to respect that, because that's the only way we can live harmoniously within ourselves and with others as well, right? And moving on to the last one of it all, over here, what you need to keep in mind is that allowing others to manage their expectations of you. So let people manage their expectations of you. Now, parents expect you to be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, teacher, whatever they want you to be. Your partner expects you to spend more time together. Your children might expect you to be there for their soccer matches or dance rehearsals and so on and so forth. And most of us have gotten our expectations from somebody else, right? So we feel like we are expected to do all of these things is because other people are telling us to do so. So we are pressured to do something because somebody else wants us to do it. But most of the time we do have a choice. So if your parents want you to be so and so, it is nice of them to think of this. However, go to them and have a conversation and tell them, I understand that you want me to, head in this direction, but my interests and my abilities and my passion lies in this direction. And why will that be beneficial for me? Make a list of it and share the, doubts with them if at all they have any. My partner expects to spend more time together. Explain and talk to your partner that sometimes it's possible and sometimes it's not. And when you don't land up spending enough time with them, it does not mean or imply that you don't love them or you don't care about them. If you accidentally miss your child's rehearsal or you cannot make it on their matches, explain to the child the true reason why and don't try to lie and cover it up. So don't let other people's expectations of you become your expectations of you. Like, I should be a good mother. I don't go for rehearsals. I don't go for soccer matches. I am a bad wife because I don't spend enough time with my husband. Or I've been a disappointing daughter because I did not become a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or so on and so forth. Right? And we put this immense pressure on ourselves. So lastly, I would like to end it by saying, remove expectations from people and you will remove their power to hurt your feelings as well. So I hope that this session was insightful for you and you actually took back a lot and understood what expectation really does for our mental health and how can we really combat and not have expectations. So I'm ready to take on all your questions. So I'm going to turn on the comment section. All right. Okay, so dive in and give me all your questions. So, Muskan, yes, this session will be saved. It gets saved in the IGTV section of Nmami Life, Mind Over Matter series. Okay. All right, so I have a question, but there's always expectations attached when we feel a person is close to us. Well, I feel like that could be true, but again, it's our choice. So today, if somebody is expecting certain things about you, you can have a talk to them, you can speak with them, rationalize with them. Are these expectations right of them to have? Are these expectations valid to have? And can you really fulfill any of them? Do you have the ability to do so? Do you want to do so? So yeah, I mean, just because everyone is close to us does not mean we owe our lives to them all the time. Will it make us strong? Most definitely it will make you strong, because this way you're living a more independent life. You are living a more a rational life, I would say, because you aren't really dependent on other people for what they think about you. You are not really dependent on what your life goals are not dependent on what other people expect out of your relationships with them. All right. Okay. So some of you are saying few takeaways for me this session. Thank you. Wonderful. Do practice it. All right. Is it due to too much of emotional? I didn't get your question, Anusha. So if you could just rephrase it for me, that would help. How to deal with people with having mental disorders? Ketki, that is a whole different session. If you have a personal question, you can message me on my profile in the direct messages, and I'll be happy to guide you. All right, so a bunch of you have enjoyed the session. Thank you very much. Expecting the unexpected means we are not too emotional and always think from our mind. So, our mind also has the ability to think many things. So, it's not that our heart becomes emotional and our mind does not, because all the feelings and the tinglings can happen within the heart because of the nervous system, but it also happens in the mind. We get stressed in the mind, we get angry in the mind, we feel happy in our mind. All of this does generate from our mind. And yes, because rationalization generates from our mind more, we say that think from your mind and less from your heart, because heart is always considered with an easy breezy love, do what your heart says, go with the flow attitude. But yes, expecting the unexpected means we are not too emotional and we do think from our mind, but it's not too emotional. I would say we are more rational is what I would say. All right. Some of you asking me where am I from? I'm from Mumbai. Can we detach or avoid from people who can't behave in a certain way with us? Of course you can. See, everything is a choice today. When you say that I can't do this, you are telling yourself you can't do it. There is always a way to work it around. There is always a way to strive for more. There have been moments where I've been so hard pressed of time on certain things, but if it's a commitment you've got to do it. It's your choice, and if you want to forego that, you can forego that as well. The next question is, can it benefit the inner us? Of course, all of this can benefit the inner us. All right. If someone is doing bad and bad with us, still we do good to them, but they don't stop doing bad, how to overcome? So Pooja, we must understand that doing good to people does not mean that you are actually doing good. Because today you might love somebody, you might care for somebody, but how you are loving and how you are caring can be very suffocating to the opposite person. So if you're constantly one of those people who keeps on directing your spouses or directing your relationships, I think you should do this and I think this is nice for you and I think this is good for you. Well, question really lies is, has the person asked for all of these suggestions? Has the person really asked for any of these, any of these thoughts or actions or anything from you? Sometimes we tend to overdo it in love, and that's what repulses a lot of people as well. Right? Okay. So, I've answered most questions. How to deal with people who have a lot of expectations. So, it's really important to have a conversation with them and actually break it down by telling them that, hey, I'm feeling the pressure of a lot of expectations from you. It would be nice to fulfill them. However, I don't see myself wanting or needing to do any of this, if that's what your motive is. If you feel that they're expecting certain things from you, which you probably just want to do it for yourself as well, and they're right, but they're pressurizing you to do it in the soonest time possible, then let them know a realistic timeline by when you would actually do the deed. All right, great. So a bunch of you have had an insightful session. So, all right. So I'm gonna take your leave, and this session is going to be saved in the IGTV and Mind Your Matter series format. So do see it for the ones who have missed out on some bits and pieces. Leave your questions in the comments down there below, and I will be happy to answer all of them. All right, until next Monday, take care and all the very best to each one of you.